Pakistan has released a draft data governance policy for public consultation, setting out new rules for how government data should be stored, accessed, shared, and protected. The Ministry of Information Technology and Telecommunication says that the draft policy will remain open for public feedback until 10th of July before being notified after relevant suggestions are incorporated. The policy treats government data as a strategic national asset. It says that public bodies do not own the data they hold. Instead, they are custodians of information held in trust for citizens. One of the key proposals gives citizens the right to know who in the government accessed their personal data, when it was accessed, and why. The draft says that this right can only be denied on narrow legal grounds, and reasons must be recorded. The policy also gives citizens the right to obtain their personal data in a structured and machine-readable format. Where technically possible and legally allowed, citizens will also be able to have the data transferred directly between public bodies. Under the proposed framework, public bodies processing personal data will have to adopt privacy-enhancing technologies, stronger access controls, and data security standards. Sensitive personal data will face stricter safeguards, including mandatory encryption, shorter retention periods, and enhanced audit requirements. Children's data will receive additional protection, including age-appropriate notices, limits on profiling, and behavioral advertising, and parental or guardian involvement where required. The policy also requires public bodies to notify the Pakistan Digital Authority in case of a personal data breach. If the breach creates a high risk for citizens, affected individuals must also be informed. The Pakistan Digital Authority will act as the national body responsible for implementing and overseeing the policy under the Digital Nation Pakistan Act 2025. The framework will apply to federal ministries, departments, regulators, authorities, autonomous bodies, public sector companies, and entities that manage government data on behalf of the state. Provinces are encouraged to adopt the policy or develop similar frameworks. The draft also says public sector data should be open by default and made available through the National Open Data Portal in machine-readable formats unless restricted by law or classification. But the policy draws a line around sovereignty. Government data must remain under Pakistan's lawful authority and effective control. Cross-border transfers will only be allowed through approved mechanisms with safeguards based on the sensitivity and classification of the data. The draft does not cover personal data held outside the public sector, court proceedings, primary legislation, or specific national security, defense, parliamentary, and judicial domains. IT Minister Shahzad Fatma says protection and usage regulations have become essential as digitization expands. For Pakistan, the policy marks an important shift in deciding who controls public data, how citizens can track its use, and what safeguards exist when the state handles personal information.